Before we get started with the recognition of our three special people tonight, I want to give a couple of thank yous. I want to thank Mona Roosevelt for all her help in coordinating this. A wise man named Al Dorenkamp once told me, hire great people and know how to delegate. And when people like Mona say, hey, I got it taken care of, there's no worries whatsoever, and I can't thank her enough for all the work that went into that. I also just want to thank the Central Dining Services staff. They do such a phenomenal job as they come out on a wonderful meal and all that those guys do. Thank you. Our first inductee is Cale from Genderen. To induct him is 2004 Central grad Matt McCombs.
As I got here and the lemming race was going on, I was thinking about this for a second, that it's been 20 years since I was last on campus at a lemming race. And at that lemming race, I participated, very much so participated. And I was the student body president, and I had one job to do after the lemming race, and that was to crown the homecoming king and queen. And while I was doing that, one of the individuals for the homecoming queen was on the dance team, and they said they needed 5 minutes to kill before she could be ready. They gave me a microphone, which should have never happened, and I led the entire Doustra auditorium through a cheer for 5 minutes. I don't remember the cheer very well, but I was told about the cheer the next day. So this is the first time they've given me a mic on homecoming weekend since then. It's my great honor to introduce you today to someone whose story goes far beyond track and field. Someone whose perseverance, leadership, and steady approach to life have earned him this moment in the spotlight. Cale Van Genderen's a 2-time national champion, a 5-time All-America honoree, and more importantly, one of the most remarkable human beings I've had the privilege of knowing. As I think about Cale's athletic accomplishments, I'm reminded of the people who have been by his side throughout this journey. Donna D. It's hard to believe it's been 25 years since I used to stand down at the high jump pit and watch Cale with you. When I think about Cale at that point, I always remember just this raw freshman with this unlimited amount of athletic ability, a really dry sense of humor, and an almost business-like approach to life. It didn't take long for me to figure out where that came from. The first time I went golfing out in Linville with Cale and Don, I found out exactly what Don's stoic competitiveness looked like. Don is a true Dutch assassin. He didn't say anything, he just smiled, and he won hole after hole after hole the entire time. Meanwhile, Dee brought all the wit and humor that I know as part of the Van Genderen charm through all these years. Jen, you came into Cale's life at such a pivotal moment, and it's clear you've been an incredible partner in helping him shape Cale into the man, leader, and father that he is today. Behind every great man, as they say, is Cale's wife. Now, when I think about teammates through the years, there's a few different types that we all have. There are those that you remember from your playing days, the ones that you share those remember when moments with. Then there's the ones that you stay in contact with once in a while with a phone call, a text message, a short little note. But then you get those special teammates that you get to share more interactions with all the time. Ones that don't just become friends, but can be colleagues. And that's where Cale comes in. I've had the privilege of working with Cale now for over 12 years. Watching him grow, not just from when he was an athlete in those remember when moments, but as a leader, a father, and a husband. And let me tell you, there is nothing you can do to rattle Cale still today. At work, I've told Cale that he's going to go from being a branch manager to running mortgage to leading our compliance department, over our marketing department, and then running an entire retail division. And nothing seems to faze Cale. He takes it all in stride, calmly moving forward and excelling in everything he does. Cale's ability to persevere is nothing short of inspiring. In sports, like in life, he faced setbacks. Times when he came up just shy of a conference or a national title. But what stands out most about Cale is his determination. He didn't let those near misses define him. Instead, they fueled him. And in his senior year, he achieved something really remarkable, sweeping the 2005 indoor and outdoor national championships. It was the culmination of years of hard work, grit, and resilience. In life, Cale's faced similar challenges just as difficult, if not more so, than those on the track. And just as I saw him rise to meet those hurdles as an athlete, I've witnessed firsthand his ability to pick himself up and move forward when life throws its own challenges at him. As a husband and a father, Cale has maintained that same steady, unwavering approach through some of the most difficult times a person can endure. His ability to remain focused, calm, and resilient is truly remarkable. And Jen, I'm sure Cale's low emotional approach to things comes in real handy when the kids start testing. At work, I've often challenged Cale with goals that might seem unachievable, or at least goals that might make some people say, "Are you serious, Clark?" But Cale has this incredible ability to tackle those challenges the same way he did on the track. By steadily building, learning, and improving, watching him grow into the leader of the largest revenue-producing business at Vibrant has been a joy over these years. He approaches every issue, challenge, and goal with what I often refer to as this low emotional approach. He just hears the objective, pushes forward, and achieves success. It's almost like he has an internal high jump bar for everything in life. He just adjusts the height and clears it. No drama, just results. Cale's perseverance, his calm under pressure, and his commitment to continuous improvement have been the defining traits of his life, both on the track and in every other role he's taken on. His leadership isn't just about achieving success, it's about lifting up those around him, be it a colleague, a friend, or as a family man. And that's what truly makes him Hall of Fame worthy. Cale, it's been a privilege to witness your growth, and your journey is a testament to the power of perseverance, determination, and quiet leadership. Today we celebrate not just your athletic achievements, but the man you've become, the leader, the husband, the father, who continues to inspire those fortunate enough to know you. It's with great pride and without any bit of disbelief that I'm excited that you're inducted into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, my friend. You've certainly earned it.
A 5-time All-American, 2-time national champ, and leader in the financial service industry, and now newest member of the 2024 Central College Hall of Honor, Genderen.
Wow, this is pretty cool. Also, if you guys didn't catch, my budget for 2025 just went up. That's all I was hearing as I was sitting there. I guess I need to get back to work. But wow, this is such a cool honor, and it's really fun to see so many of my friends, family, colleagues, coaches, so many people from my past that are here today. You know, I didn't think that a kid from a town of 300 in central Iowa would be able to do some of the things that we've been able to do. But it's been a great joy to have started my journey at Central. I talked about some pivotal moments at the college. So when I came to college, and my academic advisors back there as well, I didn't really talk. I didn't really talk in high school. For those that have been with me through this journey, I was pretty quiet. Kind of came out of my shell in college a little bit. As Matt said, we probably knew how to have a good time. But some of those moments were working in the admissions office. I always happened to marry Benedict couldn't be here tonight. But she was working kind of the front desk at that time. And Mary Vick, Cale, you have another tour. And I learned how to read the room at that point in time. I learned how to read who are the key audience, what are they here for, and the beauty of Central is that Central offered that, whatever that experience needed to be, Central could offer it to them. And so I was able to walk people through campus, spend an hour with them, couldn't be shy anymore, and had to learn how to sell. Had to learn how to sell the campus and sell that to prospective students and prospective parents. It's something I still bring with me today, now in my career. As far as athletics go, I came into Central after having a pretty good high school career. I had great coaches. My coaches are here with me today as well. But without their vested interest at an early age, I wouldn't have been able to achieve what I was able to achieve going on to college. Guy took me under his wing, along with Clint, maybe helping assist as a player coach, maybe Clint there. And they spent a lot of time with me, a lot of patience. As Matt said, I was fairly determined. I was fairly businesslike in my approach. I was pretty calm, I was pretty unwavering, but was always there working, and they were there right alongside me the whole way. One of the great things about Central College is really the relationships that I was able to develop. Again, seeing people that we started in kindergarten together and then graduated college together. It's been fun to see them tonight and been fun to be a part of that journey. Along with my other teammates that were able to be here tonight, along with coaches, I just really appreciate everything that you guys have done. And we need to probably connect more often than what we do. So I want to go ahead and wrap it up tonight and just say again, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate the experience that Central was able to give me. And go Dutch.
Our next inductee has paid his dues, Larry Happel. Introducing him will be 2002 Central grad, Molly Perry.
So for the last several months, since his retirement was announced, Larry's been getting a lot more attention than he'd like. In March, a press release went out announcing his retirement after 45 years, at Central. You can only imagine how strange that must have been for Larry. A press release with remarkable statistics written about him instead of by him. In June, featured in a segment on KCCI, the Central Iowa CBS affiliate. Midsummer, alumni, we all received our publication. He'd written his own farewell story. I read it again this week, and every time I read it, I laugh out loud. That witty commentary he always provides. It continues. In early August, a packed house came out for his public retirement party. The receiving line was so long and so slow, I'm still waiting to talk to him. And about a month ago, over 60 Central College softball alums surprised Larry and gathered up in Minneapolis at a Twins versus Cardinals game. And seeing so many alums that had traveled up to celebrate him, many of whom had flown in for the party, he said he was 60% excited and 40% embarrassed. Of course, Larry deserves all of this praise and attention, but this is unfamiliar territory for him. Sharing success stories, lifting people up, bringing the Central College community together, that's his job. We're almost done celebrating you, Larry, but let me just remind folks of a few statistics from your tenure. Some of these I noticed are listed in your program. He's a member of the COSIDA National Hall of Fame, which is the professional organization for the Larrys of the sports industry. He received 35 national awards for publications in writing, including the 2017 National Story of the Year that was picked up by NBC News. He's written over 20,000 press releases. At Central College, athletics play a significant role at the institution. Athletics drive recruitment, athletics drive enrollment, athletics drive alumni engagement, connection, and philanthropy. Larry's storytelling, his relentless pursuit of coverage and attention to detail are significant not only to the student athletes he's covered over the years, but to the broader Central College enterprise. He's had a very big job, and he did it very well. But when you talk to people about Larry, what they're most likely to mention are traits like loyalty, friendship, unwavering support, and of course we all love his dry sense of humor. Larry's mentored many student workers, including myself. He gave us, 18 to 22-year-olds, a lot of responsibility, placed a lot of expectations on the work that we would produce. We learned that working in athletics meant we were not there to cheer. We were there to do a job. Not just to get the statistics right for Central's teams, but to get it right for the opposing team as well. And when I spoke with some former student workers about Larry, a few things came up. One expressed gratitude for Larry. Larry had hired him as the college's primary photographer in 1993, which meant he had the benefit of covering national championships in women's basketball and softball that year. Another shared about Larry helping him become a better writer, taking time to sit down and reinforce specifics like hyphens, plurals, apostrophes. While few of his student workers made careers out of this profession, probably because we saw how hard he worked, we appreciate Larry, the lessons learned and the confidence gained under his tutelage. We've taken those lessons into many career paths. We've probably even used some of those in writing the speech tonight. When Larry wasn't in the office or staffing an event, he might have been on a road trip, in the dugout, or in the press box with Central's softball team. While he loved covering all of our student athletes at Central, he always had a strong connection to the softball program. He put up with Coach Wares for 40 of those years, and I'm starting to wonder now, did Coach Shipper or some other administrator pull Larry aside and say, hey, you gotta keep an eye on this guy. Wrangling Coach Wares for all of these years, on your job description, I'm wondering, did that fall under other duties as assigned? However it came to be, we were thrilled to have you along for the ride. Larry would hop on Slippy, which is a much less desirable automobile than you all travel in today, I'm sure. We'd dine on stacked lunches from the Central Market, enjoyed post-game meals at extravagant places like Wendy's, and on spring breaks, Larry often drove one of our 15-passenger vans. While on a trip to San Diego my freshman year, he took a wrong turn and his van nearly ended up in Mexico. We loved his humor and his ability to lighten the moment. One pinch runner shared with me, quote, I went into pinch run once at second. I advanced to third, and for some reason, Coach brought in a different pinch runner for me. When I came to the dugout, Larry said, I've always thought of you as a second or third specialist. But as funny as Larry was, again, it's his kindness and his friendship that have always stood out the most. One alum of the softball program said, I spent more time standing next to him in the dugout than I did any teammate. His kindness, compassion, sense of humor were lifelines when things were hard. Sometimes it was really hard. One other mentioned their friendship that has continued long after softball. She said, every time I talked to Larry, he always asked how my dad was doing. When my dad passed away this last February, Larry drove several hours up and back to attend his visitation. It meant the world to me. And on a lighter note, the same alum also appreciated Larry's simple advice after a recent breakup she went through in college. She was struggling, and Larry's advice was, wear pink. 30 years later, when life gets her down, she's still wearing pink. On behalf of many student workers that you mentored, thousands of student athletes you've covered, and the proud alumni that you keep connected to this place that we love so much, thank you, congratulations.
longest serving college or university SID in Iowa history. A member of the College Sports Communicator Hall of Fame, and now a member of the Central College Athletics Hall of Honor. Your friend and ours, Larry Happel.
So now we get to the who picked this guy portion of the program. As Molly said, after I announced I was going to retire from full-time work, they held a big reception for me in August. More than 60 softball alumni, and it was a huge surprise. I was going to Twins game with a friend. I didn't expect 60 others to be there from across the country. That was amazing. Now the Hall of Honor. I never before realized how happy people would be to see me leave. But the fact remains, you have somehow just inducted the least athletic person ever chosen. I take that back. Second worst. I'm pretty confident my 40 time was better than Bert Bennett's. Nevertheless, congratulations to two tremendous and deserving athletes, Cale and Missy. I want to thank Cale because when I got to spend a sabbatical at the University of Tennessee during 2003-04, my colleagues there had almost no awareness of Division III prior to my arrival. I remember gaining instant credibility in their eyes when I told them about this 7-foot high jumper we had back at Central. I'm glad we didn't have the transfer portal back then because they would have gone after it. And while it's rewarding to go into the Hall of Honor, it feels even more. This is going to happen. It feels even more special going with Missy. Back when I was in the softball dugout, or keeping the scorebook, Missy was playing, she used to stand next to me in the dugout. When Central was at bat, she would keep me endlessly amused with her observations, some of which had something to do with the game. It makes me smile to think for years to come, our plaques will be next to each other on the Kuiper Gym wall, with her plaque always keeping mine entertained. I'm fortunate enough to know personally nearly every person in the Hall of Fame, and I've written about all of them. I've written a copy for every one of their plaques. I saw how hard many of them worked. I marveled at how well they performed and what they accomplished following graduation. They set the standard for what it means to represent Central College athletics, both as undergraduates and afterwards. I was just the behind-the-scenes guy, trying hard not to be noticed. It's surreal to think my name is on a list with theirs. Donald Call was a longtime columnist for the Des Moines Register. When he retired, people asked him what he was going to do next. He said, "I look forward to having thoughts that I don't express." In some ways, I sort of feel that way. It's nice to watch a football game now. Something happens. Know that I don't have to immediately check the record book or tweet about it or figure out what I'm going to say about it afterwards. Not to mention worrying about whether the national anthem singer will show up, remind the PA announcer how to pronounce the name of the person who's going to be inducted at halftime, or try to figure out why the video live stream and stats computer both stop working at the same time. Or think about the 6 other stories I have to write before getting home at midnight. That's also part of what I'll miss. You see, I always wanted to be an athlete. I dreamed of wearing a varsity uniform. There's a reason I rarely did. I was bad. But if there's one thing that I liked almost as much as playing sports, it was talking about sports. Fans love to tell stories about exciting games they saw. For more than 45 years, I got to tell you mine. I already missed watching games with possible story leads floating around in my head about it. And while we tend to talk about the wins, there were disappointments and painful losses as well. But only when you invest enough that failure hurts can you truly appreciate how good it feels to succeed. And there were so many of those magic moments I got to tell about. From the volleyball national three-peat to Emily Hanson's shot in the Final Four, Chris Hughes' Salem slam to the miracle in the mud. And I'll never forget describing that one. Central's improbable playoff victory in football out in Oregon. As I was typing my laptop on the plane after the game, Eric Jones promised to buy me a cheeseburger if I would use the word brouhaha in my story. When Coach Skipper retired, I asked him how he avoided getting a big head, as everyone around him was telling him how great he was. He shrugged and said, "You're crazy if you think you did it yourself." Whatever I accomplished was not by myself. Thank you to my family, which rarely saw me for so many years, to Central Pillars Gary Timmer and President Ken Weller, who hired me, to Al Dornkamp and to Eric Van Clay, outstanding athletic directors, but even better friends. To Joe Flaherty, who's not here tonight because he's at the volleyball match doing my old job. I can assure you the sports information position is in capable hands. To all the coaches who I endlessly badgered for rosters and schedules and lineups, took my weekend and late night phone calls, and graciously talked to me after games, after tough games when they really didn't want to talk to anybody. I was blessed to work with some coaching giants who became treasured friends, like Coach Skipper, who taught me the importance of sweating the small stuff, and Coach Wares, who made me appreciate the value of taking risks, something I rarely did. Listening to hundreds of his talks with his players helped spur me to actually take a risk 20 years ago and spend that year at Tennessee. It was a life-changing experience, and I made some cherished friends. Although the only coach there who was even close to as good at motivating athletes as he and Coach Skipper was Pat Summitt. Thanks most of all, though, to Central students. They say success is nothing unless you have someone to share it with, and they allowed me to share in theirs. All of Central's victories and championships meant so much more because I knew the athletes. It was so much fun to watch them succeed, then stand back and watch them celebrate. This was especially true when they were also student workers who had to spend hours with me, often late at night after games. Many of them became lifetime friends. That's why I appreciated having Molly introduce me. She's one of those. She was an All-American in 2 sports, and one of the greatest athletes in Central history. She's now a development officer at Iowa State. She's a Hall of Honor member herself, but her even greater skill was coming in my office as my student worker for 4 years and making me laugh. And she always could. It meant a lot to me to see so many of my former sports info students at my retirement reception in August. Some others are here tonight. I'll name them Brian George, came from Minneapolis, I appreciate it. Stacy Alberts, Sonny Amy. Jamie's is the 2 generations of workers with Kara Huseman and Sydney, her daughter. And we've even got Chloe working on the video here tonight. Not all of them are in Central's Hall of Honor, but they're in mine. Someone once told President Weller that a good college could get along just fine without athletics teams. He told them, yes, they were probably right, but it wouldn't be as much fun. It's ironic that this banquet is taking place minutes after the lemming race. Brian Fegley's here tonight, and we dreamed up the lemming race in his Goss Hall dorm room in 1977 because it seemed like fun. Even though we were doubtful we'd find any students dumb enough to run in it. 2 things are true. We never dreamed that 47 years later they'd still be running a lemming race, or that 47 years later I'd still be working at Central. But I guess we discovered that both are too much fun to stop.
Our third inductee is Missy Allen Michel. Introducing her is head softball coach, Coach George Wares.
this, and then I don't, because I'm afraid I'm going to say something stupid. Our players know I do that on a regular basis, but I'm going to try not to here. It's really an honor that Missy asked me to do this, and it's a very easy thing to do. One of the best players I've ever coached, and arguably, and I'll say it without hesitation, one of the top pitchers to ever pitch at Division III. And so I've always had a different thought of student athlete. You know, everybody, because you're Division III, you gotta say student athlete, and I don't buy that. I think it's student athlete with a fluctuation during the 4 years that somebody's on campus. And I think Missy's the perfect example of that. You build relationships during the recruiting process, and actually with Missy, there wasn't a great opportunity to do that. Didn't really know her very well until she got here because she was going to some JUCO. Thought she was going to be big time, and then didn't go to the JUCO and ended up being big time, but it was here. And like every other player, the first concern is she going to get homesick? Is she going to be able to handle a high expectation coach? Is she going to be able to handle the academic part? And so all that kind of went together. And then I was feeling pretty good about the process, how it was going, and we got into a fall evening practice at one of the high schools. Sometimes we did that when we didn't want to go at 4. And Missy had a test that day. And I was just feeling pretty good. Okay, she's making it. And so she gets there, and I'm just excited to ask her. And I said, Missy, how'd it go? And I got this look. Coach, what are you talking about? You know that test that you were supposed to take? Yeah, she didn't take the test. She forgot to take the test. So I did a few of these. And I said, okay, we got to figure out a way, because I just saw the rice ball, so we're going to make this work somehow. And fortunately, Phil George really took her under his wings. And fast forward 4 years, and I had a conversation with Phil. We had some conversations, as you do with a lot of students, about a lot of students. And his words were, when it was all done, she was one of the best students that he had in this education program. And go fast forward even more with what she's doing now. Obviously, the success she's had was phenomenal. So that's the student part. And the athlete part, you know, I'm not going to get into all the strikeouts. You can read about that, but there was a presence about Missy that you knew when she went into in the circle that you could just see it in her face, you know, and you just knew you had a chance to win. And back in those days, our biggest rival nationally was a school called Trenton State, now the College of New Jersey. And we happened to play them in a national tournament. We were at a breakfast, and they had some hitters that were incredibly gifted. And so I always said was, you've got to go inside, you've got to go inside, you got to jam them, you got to jam them. So I was going to bring some jam tonight, but I didn't have it. So there was some in the restaurant, and I tossed it across. I forgot there were other people there besides Central Softball. I didn't really care because we were going to play in a national tournament, so let them do their own thing. And mind your own business, I guess, is what it would be. And then Missy caught it, and she looked at it, and I think she finally figured out what it was all about. So I found out later she actually put the jam in a pocket and had a victory against College of New Jersey. It wasn't always peaches and cream. We were playing in a tournament in Missouri Southern, and Kara Hoosman at that time was on the team, Kara Stanley, and Missy had pitched the game, and she pitched all right, but we didn't do much offensively. And I'm a very calm loser. I don't get mad very easily. And, my emotions are always under control. They're over there saying, okay, who is that guy? But so actually Sam, I sent Sam over. Okay, Sam, I got to catch my breath here. You go talk to him. And it was like to that wall. I could overhear what Sam was saying. Bless his heart. And he was just giving it one. He said, come on, we got this. You know, we can do better. And I said, oh my God, Sam. So I pull Sam away, and then I get a little upset. And once in a while, I swear. And this was one of those times. You know, and I did another one of these afterwards. And so anyway, we go back on the field, and we had a game like a half hour later, and Kara's pitching. And in the first inning, we scored 3 runs. Offense just clicked. So Missy, I found out afterwards, goes to Kara said, Kara, could you please tell Coach to use that word before a game that I pitch? So you never know how you're going to motivate. Thanks for the credit, Larry, but you just never know how that's going to be. There was another story which includes Larry. It was a situation where, and Kara's also involved in this, and we were playing another team that had a very good pitcher, and there was a scoreless game going into the 8th inning. Top of the 8th, we are the visiting team. Those of you that don't know softball, that means, or we are the home team, sorry, we bat last. And so all of a sudden they had the bases loaded with 1 out, and okay, time to pull. So we take Missy out, Kara comes in, throws 1 pitch, back to her, 1, 2, 3, double play. She throws 1 pitch, we're out of the inning. We score a run at the bottom of the 1st, or bottom of the 8th, and Missy goes, I got the win, I got the win. Larry says, no, you don't. Well, I pitched 8 innings, she threw 1 batter, that's the rules, Missy, you don't get the win. So she did all the work, but Kara got the win. And that's the athlete part. And you can read about the strikeouts, you can read about the All-American, and she truly was a gifted athlete, a gifted pitcher. But that goes to the most important part. And those 2 combos of things mean nothing without the human being that she is. Seeing her, when she was here, the way she all of a sudden started paying attention to her academics, the way she tried to be a teammate all the time to her teammates, and the way she had such an investment in what we were trying to do. And then as I watched her, from afar sometimes and from conversations sometimes, and seeing what she's gone through, and despite what she's gone through, seeing the sister that she is, the daughter that she is, and now the mother that she is, that means everything to me. And I'm not saying Central Softball did any of that, but I hope it did a part of that. And it's a deep honor, Missy, to congratulations.
An NCAA Division III national champ softball pitcher, a 3-time All-American honoree, Central's career strikeouts leader, a successful business owner committed to childhood learning, and now a new member of the Central College Athletic Hall of Honor, Missy Allen Michel.
This wasn't on my original plan, but I do want to recognize one more family member that I forgot to recognize, and he's very important to me because he came upon that we were related accidentally, I think, kind of, and my junior year, maybe? Yeah, my junior year, he came up to me and goes, guess what? We're related, and then now I've forgotten, and I see him, and he calls me cuz, and so like I shouldn't forget, but if people know me at all, like I'm a terrible names person, so we're lucky that I even remember who my actual like family at the table are. So when he didn't sit with us, I just forgot. So Eric Jones is part of my family as well, and I'm very lucky to have him as my husband. I love you, Eric. Another thing that I also kind of wanted to touch base on is, did anybody think it was odd that Cale is a 5-time All-American? How did that happen? Just check. I only got 4 chances, and I didn't even get all 4. It's impressive. I'm really proud of you. I just want to thank everybody for being here, for both Larry and Cale and I. It's very nice to have people come out, and it's so good to see people that you haven't seen in a long time. This bifocal thing is really tough. You young ones, you just wait. But I do want to thank everyone for being here. It's It's a huge honor. I tried to decipher whether I thought it was an honor or if people just felt bad for the old lady and they're like, oh, just throw Missy in there, that'll be fun. No, I'm just teasing. It is an honor to be here for tonight. The hardest part about this was picking out my outfit. And I had to go with black and just throw on some cute shoes and paint my nails red and call it good. Because I just could find nothing in law. Coach kind of made me sound like a dummy. I need to clarify, I'm not a dummy, but just a little bit scatterbrained. And I swear to God that professor moved the test on purpose. It was just the wrong day, it's all I had. I wasn't a dummy. No, just a few stories I just kind of want to touch base on. I usually can talk without a problem. Most of you know that. I could probably talk to a wall and have a great conversation. So I reached out to Larry and I said, okay, about this whole induction thing, how long do we have to talk? Oh, you just talk as long as you want, you'll be great. Okay, that's not what I was wanting, Larry. Then he comes back with, well, my speech is 1,300 words, for crying out loud. So should I just type blah, 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 get to 1,300, read that off to myself, like time it? He gave me nothing to go on. And then he said, then I got to thinking, oh my gosh, he's typed his whole speech out. I'm not that girl. I'm done with school, I'm not that girl. And he goes, well, you could do what Coach does and just type key points. Well, that's more of my thing. Coach, I must have gotten that from you. I think that's really cute. I didn't even know that you did that. Coach talked about a few stories that he found humorous. He forgot probably my favorite story of all. When you were in high school, back in the day, the pitcher's mound was at 40 feet. Then when you went to college, it moved back to 43. And that got in my head a little bit. He got in my head a lot of it, but that got in my head a little bit. And I struggled with it, the distance, not him. But he was at practice every day, which he just kept coming. And I couldn't throw a strike, you guys. It was a real problem. Okay, so I wasn't even supposed to be at Central. I was supposed to be somewhere else, but I was there and I needed to figure it out. And Coach had the audacity to say, I need you to throw strikes. I'm going to have to be at the games. I'm going to be here. And so eventually I finally obviously got there, but he kept talking to me and I was super shy, you guys. Like coming out of high school, I was super shy. And my coach was like everybody's favorite grandpa. Like he never got upset and he was just super sweet and I went from him to him. And I'm like, this is a major like adjustment for me because I just went from being with my grandpa to being with like a drill sergeant. And I'm like, this is not going to probably work in my favor. And he was just always on me. And I'm like, why does he only see me? I swear there's like a bunch of other girls. And obviously, he said stuff to them too, but all I heard is what he was saying. So that was probably one of my favorite things about Coach. There were stages of Coach. And my first stage of Coach was, I was scared to death of him. Like I said, I would pray every practice, please don't talk to me, just don't see me. And he yelled at me at a practice. We were inside hitting popcorn kernels. Now, I'm a pitcher, friends, and I hadn't been allowed to hit for years. And so now he wants me to hit a popcorn kernel. So I was Missy, okay? And he yelled at me, and he called me a dowling prima donna. He goes, would you work, do you remember that? He goes, would you work harder, you dowling prima donna? You're going to be expected to do everything everybody else does. And I was like, oh my God. So there was a lot of times my mom didn't think she would get me to come back to school because fall was tough. And then I went into the phase as I got used to him a little bit. I was just a little bit curious about what he might say or do. So then I was kind of like, I just watched him. And I was like, because you kind of I try to read people, and I was like, if such and such happens, he'll probably do this. So then I kind of got curious to see what made this man tick. And then I went to the next stage of my stage of Coach, I guess you would say. I made sure he saw me, I made sure he talked to me, and I liked to try to challenge him. I remember being on a bus with him I don't remember if we were coming home or going there, and I said, it's ridiculous to me how you can come up with a speech about just bizarre things, just out of the blue. I said, I just can't believe that. And I said, I'm gonna give you 2 topics, and I can't even remember now what it was something goofy, and he made a motivational speech about these 2 goofy topics. I feel like one was a candy bar and something was else. So like, he just was very interesting to me, and I just wanted to challenge him, and like I said, I just got more comfortable around him, and then obviously then that allowed for me to not be scared anymore and realize he is going to be at practices and he is going to be at the games. Because dealing with Sam, as you know from the last story, Sam was a lot easier. Larry, I appreciate every part of my career that you were a part of. Being with you in our softball family, like I just thought that was your job for my freshman year. Like I was like, this is cool, we have our own guy. And he was with us. And he was just such a big part of our family, and it was just like we didn't go anywhere without him. And then when I learned that he doesn't go with you girls, I'm so sorry about that. Because you would really enjoy the pecking orders, which you don't do anymore. Cale, I'm just a little bitter about the whole 5-time All-American. It wasn't even an option for me, and plus, that's fantastic. And you clearly didn't have troubles with your finals because you were a summa cum laude. That's fantastic. Congratulations to you as well. Every time I step on this campus, this school is extremely, I don't know what it is about it. I ask people all the time, like, because I wanted to go to Iowa. Like, I wanted to be a Hawkeye, and a huge Hawkeye fan. And when I step on this campus, it's very special to me. And as soon as I get here, it's like coming home. And I've heard other people say similar things to that. But it really, it's not just, obviously softball is huge, but it's just the whole feel when you walk into the school. And the people, and I constantly am asking Larry, hey, who's that? Because I don't remember going or playing softball or whatever with them, and he's constantly telling me who they are, and it's just like just a big family here, whether they're part of softball or not. And I bring my nephew, he's a sophomore this year, and I bring my nephew up here with my sister, and I said to him, you're getting my best years. And he said, what do you mean? And I'm super excited to move him into his place. And I go, well, because I'm 50 now, and I'm moving you into college, and my kids are 13 and 15, by then I'm going to be sitting in the room, and your mother's going to have to start carrying stuff. Because my sister carried very little stuff. Let's be honest, I'm so glad she's not here because I don't have to listen to it. But when I come up here, it makes my heart happy to be on campus here. It makes me happy to be in Pella. It's just, like I said, it's like coming home every single time I come here. Sports are not about what you achieve. They are about who you become. And I teach a lot of young athletes, whether it's through what it used to be through private lessons or actually like coaching my children's teams. And when I talk to those athletes, I talk to them a lot about what sports is actually doing for them. I firmly believe that that sports plays a huge role in who you become. I think it teaches you a lot. I think without sports in my life, I wonder sometimes what I would have been. Maybe without a coach like Coach Wares, I wonder how open I would be, how unafraid I am to take risks. But I think that adds to the special part of what the school is and what playing sports has done for me. I think confidence that I gained from athletics has helped me not only in my athletic career, but I think it helped me in what I chose to do after school. I had the confidence to take a risk to leave education after 12 years and open my own businesses and touch young children's lives. The perseverance that I gained from softball. I think helped me push through one of the worst days of my life. I think that I know there was a lot of times that I would reflect on how I would make it through. And I think the resilience that I gained from sports also is part of that. It is odd to me that sports could help me that much, and the people around me. I know that there were a lot of people from Central that came when my husband passed, and I know that how it made me feel. There's not a lot I remember about that day, but I remember my Central family coming. I remember Coach coming, and I was like a weight that lifted off of me, because those people were so special to me that they would come and take time to be there. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody that's been in Central athletics or the school for making this place so special. Because without it, I don't know if I would be the person I am today. Again, thank you for this honor, and thank you for being here. And Cale, I am very upset about this.
Cale and Missy, not in front of the kids, please. You guys can work it out later. I'm not sure rock, paper, scissors who's going to win that one. So, there's certain moments in your life that there's just a little irony where you go back and you say, man, this is pretty special. Outdoor camp will always have a pretty special place in my life, because me and my kids and our family's life is forever different when he brought us here 17 and a half years ago. And I'll never forget about 10 years ago when my now 19 and 17-year-old were obviously 10 years younger. And, hey, Dad, what's going on? What do you got tonight? I said, we got the Hall of Honor banquet. And both of them kind of look at me with a puzzled face. They're like, I don't get it. You mean Hall of Fame? I'm like, no, Hall of Honor. And they're like, what's that? And I said, well, you got to understand, people at Central, it's a little bit different. It's not just athletics. I've always said it's super simple. It's the best that we strive to be in all areas. And a 7 and 9-year-old got that. I said it's just a little bit more than athletics. It's the best that we strive to be in all areas. And I don't know of any 3 people that better exemplify that. So thank you for all that you are and being the best that we strive to be in all areas. Thank you for your families being here, and go Dutch.